Hi everyone. I just finished watching the season 3 Vampire Diaries finale. It was incredible. So many twists and turns in the show, right? First you start off with Elena going back into her past, remembering sophomore year before vampires came into her life. And I must say, it's kind of interesting. Like, she starts out with her Aunt Jenna, which I'm glad to see Jenna, like, at least one more time. Her parents, and, her brother, and this is at the time where she was actually a cheerleader. And then once the flashback's over, she's woke up in the hospital, and Jeremy and Meredith are talking, and Meredith tells Jeremy it's just a concussion, nothing to worry about, and I'll get that involves a later storyline at the end of the episode, but I'm gonna get on to the important part. Alaric shows up in Meredith's office, telling her that the council is on to her, that she's been using vampire blood, and they're there to revoke her license, and she is forced to sign custody of Elena over to Alaric, and Alaric looks to take her out of there, but unfortunately Damon and Stefan get the phone call that Elena's in the hospital, and they tell her to tell Jeremy to get her out of there. She's a sitting duck because every vampire in the world wants her dead, because of Alaric. He cannot be killed unless Elena dies. So when Alaric enters the room, she's not there. Jeremy takes her home, and basically when they get her home, she's to be put on rest, and she's not allowed to leave the house. But unfortunately, before she wakes up, she has another flashback of a time when her and Matt were together. And I think that's great. You see Vonnie having her psychic visions before she figured out she was a witch. It's like, I love Elena's scenes as a cheerleader. It was great. And then she wakes up, and there's in present day, and there's Matt, and they're talking about sophomore year and how she's sorry for dragging them along. And she says she's making the same mistakes with Stefan and Damon. And then now she's saying that I'm just gonna have to let one of them go, and Matt asks her who, but before she can answer, here comes Stefan running inside the door, and Elena jumps into his arms. I mean, wow, I totally did not see that coming. And then who shows up? Elijah, offering a deal to Elena, and Damon's on the phone, over the phone, speaker or something like that, I'm not really sure. But they offer her a deal, like, if they return the classes over the body to her, to Klaus, I'm saying this wrong. If Elena and Stefan, Damon, Jeremy, and all their crew turned over Klaus's body to Elijah, Cole, and Rebecca, Elena will come to no harm. And Damon, of course, he goes, no, 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 no. Did I mention no? And Elena goes against his wishes and said, yes, I will. And all hell breaks loose after that. Jeremy gets confronted by Alaric and then said, help me destroy all vampires and your sister can live a happy, normal human life. And he does agree, but that's not what we think about it. He actually, what does he do? He actually fools Alaric and tells that Damon is on his way to bury Klaus in Route 12, and I'll send you the details later. Unfortunately, he's in a shack, like some kind of storage unit with like 1,000,000 things in there. So, and then Damon and Bonnie show up to confront him, and Bonnie wants to be alone with Klaus to appreciate the moment. And she's like, you should rot in hell you're responsible for my mother. Like, Tyler becoming a hybrid, and she's all pissed. What are we going to do about that? And then Damon's on the phone with Stefan because he's pissed at Elena for making that deal with Elijah. And after she hears the elevator ring, he assumes that it's Rebecca, which is not. It's Alaric, and he's asking for the location of Klaus's body. And all hell breaks loose. Like, it's in the storage unit, have at it, there's only 1,000 of them, and then breaks his neck. So Alaric's just desperately searching for it, and who just shows up? Rebecca, to find Klaus's body. And what do you know, Alaric's there, Damon And then once Damon sneaks out behind Rebecca, probably tells Rebecca what's going on, and they tried to rush his class's body out of there. And what do you know? They get caught. Alaric spanks Rebecca around on the car door and throws her around and pushes Damon, lifts the casket over the head to reveal Klaus, takes the white oak stake and stabs Klaus. I'm like freaking happy and sad at the same time, because we assume that when Klaus is dead, Elena, Stefan, Damon, Caroline, Bonnie's mom, Catherine, they're all gonna die. But no, I'll get on to that later. They're just in the moment, and after that happened, Damon called Stefan and told him the bad news that Klaus had been staked. So what happens then? Elena gets the word, and is and when Elena gets the word, she's in the car. She was drugged by Matt with some kind of tea. Matt and Jeremy had a supposed plan to get Elena out of town, and they were on their way out of town, and Matt's like, we can't go back. They only have about an hour to live before they get sick and all die. So you either go back to Damon or go to Stefan. But in the first wall, Elena calls Damon, and he asks her the question, if it came down between me and him, who would you choose? And unfortunately, she picks Stefan. You have to be with the one who makes you feel alive. And then she tells Damon that if they had met first, they may have ended up together. And then after that, all chaos breaks loose. Caroline goes to Tyler and tells him the bad news that Klaus is dying. Klaus died, and now Tyler's gonna die, and they get an embrace. Which I may add, Klaus at this point, he's already in Tyler's body, and nobody knows about it. Caroline's all kissing him for the last, which she thinks is the last time, and I think Tyler acts like he's dying, so Caroline is just like, will not leave. She will not leave. And then he starts faking sick. It's like, Caroline, get out of here. I don't want to watch you die. And Caroline just storms off. And then we're back to Rebecca calling Stefan. Klaus is dead, and she breaks their promise. Like, the only way we can kill Alaric is if Elena dies. And while Elena and Matt are on the road, they're about to cross Rickery Bridge, and there you go. Rebecca's just standing there, and then Elena's like, Matt, look out! And they go over the bridge in the water, and then you get another flashback scene between the past car accident with her and her parents, and the present car accident with her and Matt. And in the past, you see they're struggling to get out of the car, water's filling in, her dad's like, everything's going to be alright, Elena, everything's going to be alright. And once there's a verge, Elena takes her father's hand and says, I love you. And you can see Stefan coming to the rescue. And then Grayson Gilbert, and he's like, no, save Elena. The present. Let's go to the present car accident scene. When Stefan gets down there, Elena will not let Stefan rescue her. You gotta say Matt, you gotta say Matt, you gotta say Matt, and he does. And this is the most saddest scene I've ever seen on the Vampire Diaries. Elena drowns while Stefan is getting Matt to safety. I was like freaking out. No, you can't kill the main character on the show. What is wrong with you? Why would there be season 4 if you're gonna do that? So I watched the rest of the show all mad as hell, and then, what do you know, like 1,000 miles away, Damon and Alaric are fighting to the death, and Alaric suddenly dies in Damon's arms, and he starts realizing, like, you can't be dead. You're not dead. You're not dead. And then he realizes that Elena has died. And then Jeremy's on the phone calling Matt and gets voicemail, I assume, and is like, where are you guys? You should have been back by now. And Alaric's ghost appears to him. What the hell is going on here? And tells her that I'll always be watching over you. You will never be alone. And then he's like, I don't understand. And then he realizes that he's a ghost, and he has realized that Elena has died. Next part, you see Elena in the morgue, laying there, dead. And Stefan's standing over him, and he looks like an emotional wreck. I feel so bad for him at that point. I love Stelena. I love Stefan and Elena, but I also have a part of me that likes Damon and Elena too, so I don't care who she ends up with in the end. Well, back to the real world. Elena is dead now. And once Damon figured it out, he came rushing back to Mystic Falls Hospital. He's like, where is she? And then Damon and Meredith encountered each other, and Meredith was like, wait, there's something you need to know. When Jeremy brought her in earlier, she didn't have a concussion. It was a cerebral hemorrhage. It was a bleeding of the brain. And this is what Meredith said. I was so worried I didn't want to tell him, but I helped her. She needed my help. And Damon goes, you what? And then the next scene, when you know, we're back to Elena lying there dead, and then she mysteriously wakes up. And we all know what that means. Elena is back. She is not dead. She is in transition into a vampire. And that's probably where season 4 will pick up. We'll see the first episode of, like, whose blood was it and everything else. Is like, it wasn't Damon's blood. If it was Damon's blood, she'll remember everything. She'll remember that she met Damon first. And that flashback was so cute. Like, when Matt and Elena were fighting in one flashback scene, it was great. It's like, I'm just glad I bet she'll remember that Rebecca was the one responsible. Damon and Stefan will know that Rebecca was responsible. And Klaus, hallelujah, Klaus cannot use Elena anymore to make his hybrid army. He is going to be so mad. I cannot wait to see that play out. But he's also going to be mad at his sister for ruining his chance to create his hybrid army. But that's just going to be great. Season 4 is probably... Now, what you should know after that, Tyler and Caroline are forced to leave town because the council apparently knows about them being a vampire and a werewolf, a hybrid werewolf vampire, and they're going to be chasing them once they dealt with Klaus. So they cannot stay in town, otherwise they'll end up dead. So their mom's forced them to leave town. But, like, my reaction to the season finale, it was the best season finale yet. I absolutely loved it. I mean, I've been waiting for this moment for a while. I'm going to be glad to see if Elena will actually complete the transition. Of course, the writers could completely blow it out. She could not choose to turn into a vampire, or Bonnie can create some sort of spell that will not make her turn. But that would be interesting to see play out in season 4. But I cannot wait till that renews. Oh, and I should let you guys know, CW has canceled the Secret Circle. I really don't know what this means or anything. I know it's been canceled, so there will be no season 2, which I wasn't really disappointed because I haven't seen any of season 1 much. So I guess I'll just watch that and see if I think it should be renewed or not. But it really doesn't matter because CW is doing it. Instead, they're picking up something called Cult and Beauty and the Beast series. I was like, okay, whatever. But back to Vampire Diaries. I cannot wait for season 4, so I'm just ready for September, and let's bring on Stefan and Elena. And I bet if Elena decides to complete the transition, the love triangle, her love will be intensified for both Stefan and Damon. Her emotions are going to be heightened. Anger is just going to be in one urge. I really think she will be a good vampire. I don't think she'll be evil or anything like that. But I know one thing. She's really going to be pissed at Rebecca for killing her, of course. And Rebecca's going to get lashed out at for everything that she did. So, thank you. Post your comments below. And thank you guys for listening.